I know how painful it is when you go from one technique to another technique, thinking that one method may be different, and finally you will speak just like everyone else and you will have fun. But sorry, those methods and techniques will never get you there, because it only distracts you, it distracts your attention and speaking. You cannot distract yourself with those methods. That's not how human beings operate. And you will learn it during the class that we are very limited in terms of attention, in terms of focus, and those techniques and methods only distract us. I really recommend you to just stop looking for those artificial techniques, methods, to enroll in more intelligent approach that is natural. So if you want to express yourself, if you do not want to limit yourself with techniques, you just want to speak just like everyone else, just enroll in this program.
Just like you speaking. Just like you are speaking.
Yes. It's easy, you will learn it the correct way. And it's going to stay with you for the rest of your life. As a stuttering is, in a medical establishment, it is thought to be a disease that needs a cure. And when I have stumbled upon your approach, I saw that this may not be the case, and maybe it's just a simple lack of speaking skills. And for me, it was very convincing, due to the fact that I was speaking very little over the years. So it resonated with me, and so stuttering really boils down to being a big limitation in almost every area of your life. When I speak better, I also notice that I think better, and maybe my depression or my obsessive compulsive disorder, it may be connected to maybe stuttering. I think that stuttering and the mind are closely related, and maybe your mind can be disorganized because you cannot speak. To be honest, I had maybe a few years ago, but now my speech has gotten a little better, and I just don't think about problematic letters, to be honest.
The phrase "to be honest" is so typical to people who stutter. It's just not even funny. Are you sometimes not honest?
No, and also my other problem is I'm using a lot of filler words, like Michael Williams, when I was working for his program, he was talking about those introductory phrases.
Oh God!
And, yes, and I just sometimes add something to just get momentum and speak. So I'm not speaking to produce something meaningful, but just to speak.
That's what Mr. Michael Williams teaches, and he speaks the same way. He produces a lot of fillers.
Yes. Że urzędnik w okienku jest...
doesn't mean clear?
Just one second. Zauważyłem, że urzędnik w okienku jest bardzo znudzony. Waży koperty, wyjmuje znaczniki.
No, you gotta answer the question. That's the whole point.
I didn't answer his question.
Do you plan to answer? Because it's important. You are using.
What were you asking? Now I can answer you. But what was the question?
What was the question?
Yes.
What do you mean when you are talking that your brain is clearer?
My brain is clearer because it's easier for me to come up with words. It's easier for me to speak because my mind is more fresh, more rested. I don't have such a void in my head like yesterday when I was tired.
Okay.
Zauważyłem, że urzędnik w okienku jest bardzo znudzony.
What was the main reason that you were tired yesterday?
The main reason was because I couldn't sleep. I was very stressed out about the class. and also my obsessive compulsive disorder didn't allow me to just have a clear mind, and I found it hard to just fall asleep. Waży koperty, wyjmuje znaczki, wydaje resztę, wypisuje pokwitowania. Monotonna praca przez całe lata. Pomyślałem sobie.
Something to drink or some snack?
I am okay now. You don't have to prepare anything. I am not thirsty. I am not hungry. I can operate. Monotonna praca przez całe lata. Pomyślałem więc, spróbuję sprawdzić, by ten urzędnik mnie polubił. Oczywiście, aby to osiągnąć, muszę powiedzieć mu coś miłego o nim, a nie o mnie. Co takiego mogę w nim naprawdę podziwiać?
What is this book about?
This book is about how to win and influence people by author Cale. No, it's actually Dale Carnegie. It's author. And this book teaches you how to make friends, how to understand people, and how to be empathetic. Co takiego mogę w nim naprawdę podziwiać? Czasem trudno odpowiedzieć na takie pytania.
How to win people? What does it mean?
How to win people? It means how to win their trust, how to get people to like you, to make them feel comfortable in your area. Czasem trudno odpowiedzieć na takie pytania, zwłaszcza gdy idzie o nie. Unfortunately, I went through different methods and it's just destroyed my body, destroyed my attention and ultimately speech at some point. In my speech therapy, the first thing they made me go through was examination. They asked me questions and they observed what I do. And they tried to make a diagnosis of my problem. They said that I have a stuttering that is located in my throat area. I believed that I was 14 and I had no other option, and already we had invested a lot of money in this because, just to enroll in this therapy you had to invest partially finances and then you had to pay even more. And here's the trick, that they made me go through this examination just like every other person, and even though the diagnosis was different for people, the solution was the same. So my question is, why do you even make a diagnosis if you treat everybody the same? So
That's a good question.
It was just a trick to make me trust them that they have some medical education, that they can diagnose me, but so I convinced myself that this is the solution.
The main thing is not even that. You've convinced yourself that you were sick, that
Yes.
something was wrong with your body
Yes.
and you needed a cure.
Yes.
So you started looking for a cure instead of simply continuing speaking.
King. Yes.
How did they cure you?
They didn't cure me, unfortunately. They didn't manage to solve my problem. We had a house where everyone was put together and we were living there for 2 weeks.
Were you in a group setting?
Yes, they were
Oh my God.
30 people. And every day we had classes, activities with our therapist.
Did you communicate with each other?
We were not allowed to. We were taught for 3 days to just stay silent. I was silent. I was doing breathing exercises. I was working on my diaphragm. I was relaxing. They provided me tapes with relaxation music, so I was just listening to it. I tried to forget my last speaking style.
Experience. They programmed
Speaking
you
experience.
to stutter for life.
Yes.
If before this program you were still developing your speaking skills, you were still speaking, not enough of course, because you were afraid of making mistakes. But this therapy totally convinced you that the solution for your already underdeveloped speech was not to speak at all. It is just criminal.
After these 3 days of silence, utter silence, they presented the method of hands and slow speech. So I obeyed them. I was taught how to use my hands in order to coordinate my speech and how to connect the syllables. Their method was to totally destroy my speech, learn to speak in a new way. And their new way was basically to slow everything down for the first 3 months, then accelerate the tempo. And after 1 year, they allowed me to speak in a tempo that was at the rate of normal speech. Their method was to connect the syllables. For example, let's say table is my problematic word, and they said that I have to use a hand to speak. I placed my hand on my leg, and first they taught me to make inhalation. So I was using my thumb here, just taking in the air to inhale. I was taking air, and then by moving my thumb here, I was saying the first syllable. And when the first syllable ended, I switched it to second syllable, to third, to fourth, to five. And in order to say something, we divided the word into syllables. We divided the word into syllables. So I made an inhalation with my thumb. Made the first syllable. When the first syllable ended, I went to second syllable, third syllable, fourth and fifth. And this is basically how I was speaking for 3 years. So I had to focus on my hand and speak. And it's so stuck in my mind that I have no control really over it.
What? No, you do have control. Don't give...
Yes.
But what I'm saying, by doing this for 3 years, you destroyed not just your speech. You destroyed your attention focus. You learned to split your attention. Remember, you have only one focused beam of attention that you must use for your speech. Each and every method is stuttering. Each and every method is stuttering.
You know, comparing the program of Michael Williams, it's just heaven. His program compared to the insanity what I was doing, I know it's not effective. But, you know, when we compare evil and evil, the first thing what I was doing is the depths of the hell. It's like a total inferno, total devils. So...
Okay, you mentioned Michael Williams, and I want to emphasize, I like the guy.
He tries to help.
Yes.
You know, he tries. When somebody knows something a little bit, they just want to push it to you because they know some little piece of information and they want to provide it and sell it.
So he is really passionate about what he is doing. But he is confused. I feel sorry for him every time I listen to him and what he is preaching. When I watch the video reports of his students, I feel sorry for these people. They're so confused. But eventually, if they work really hard, maybe in a few years, eventually, I don't say that it's impossible. Eventually, they may find their way out of this nightmare.
Yeah. And now having this ethanol knowledge, I sometimes watch Michael Williams videos and I see that when he improvised, he doesn't make as many mistakes. Maybe because he was speaking more, he
simply has a different form of stuttering. He makes his speech mistakes. For example, when he was talking about the method of connecting words, He was
Yes,
teaching it while teaching others to connect words. His main point was not to let pauses in speech. And he was pausing all the time.
Yes, he knew something, but somehow he figured out the normal speech, but he didn't know what he was doing right, so he invented some techniques and solved them.
Unfortunately, he has not realized yet that every single technique is stuttering. Normal speech is speaking without any techniques and without any helpers. You don't need me to speak, do you?
Of course not. I just need initially a teacher that points out my mistakes and coordinate me how to do it, and then I do it. You are not speaking for me, but you are telling me what I may be doing wrong.
And what you're supposed to do right, just like any normally speaking person on the planet. But okay, let's go back. So for 3 years you were paying to destroy yourself. For 3 years.
Yes, every month I was paying. For 3 years.
Right. So what happened in 3 years?
This therapy in 2012 ended in a big mental breakdown, in a big depression that just led to all kinds of dark thoughts. You know, when people are in this place, they just think about, ending their lives, just stopping everything. I just had a big realization that the therapy didn't provide the results, that I wasted 3 years of my life and I will not get it back. I am in a worse position than I was before because my previous speech was totally destroyed. I couldn't speak with the new speech. I couldn't speak with my old speech. So after 3 years, I was in a point where I spoke worse than before. And I noticed that my mind was getting even darker. I couldn't concentrate at school. It was just a downhill spiral. And not only I couldn't speak, but I found it harder to function. So I lost weight, I lost 15 kilos, I was very skinny, I couldn't think even, I was not even eating, I wasn't providing nutrients, I was just very weak. And when you are very weak, you cannot speak, you don't have friends because you lost every and each friend during this 3-year period. You have only your parents. You don't want to continue living, right?
So did you have suicidal thoughts?
Of course I had for half a year. I was looking for solutions how to end yourself just quickly, painlessly. And this was my concern, just to end this nightmare. So my parents took me to a psychologist because they couldn't help me. So they thought that maybe a specialist will help me. So I was talking with this psychologist and the result was non-existence. We were talking about some random stuff, some childhood memories, but it didn't really resonate with me. So it was a very dark period in my life. So it lasted for 6 months and my parents took me to a psychiatrist who provided me with medication.
Drugs, of course! Drug you, yay!
I was taking the drugs. I didn't feel any difference initially, but after a few weeks, I just went into mania. I lost my depression and my confidence, my just mood went far up, and suddenly I was speaking so fast, I was thinking very fast, my mood was very high, but it was not normal. It was like I was on some kind of stimulation, and it was such a shift. Then I was a weak, skinny person, and then I gained like 15 kilograms of weight in a very short amount of time. And this mania went for a few months. Of course, I got my friends back because I was an entertaining person. I was very confident, I was funny, I just went to them, I didn't give a shit. So I wasn't hiding. but it was not natural. I was just operating on 500% speed, and I was doing stupid things at bars, at restaurants, and I was just having the time of my life, but it wasn't me, it was just some kind of stimulated person. And then my mania went into depression again. After 6 months, I went into another period of depression. I lost weight, I couldn't think, I didn't speak, I didn't go out to meet friends, I didn't do anything. Again, I had suicidal thoughts. After the maniac episode, when I went into my second depression, then I understood that I just have to take my time. I was reading some spirituality books, I was doing some meditation, I was just taking my time just to figure out and not panic, not be so compulsive, not be so reactive. So it wasn't parents or psychologists that helped me, but I said to myself that it's time to stop this insanity. There was a shift in my thinking from thoughts of giving up, of ending my life. I shifted to more rational approach, and I started to have gratitude towards what I have, and my attitude changed.
Okay, so what did you do regarding your speech?
For the whole year, I wasn't doing anything. I just spoke the way I spoke, which was with repetitions. I was avoiding contacts, avoiding speaking, because at that time I was connecting speaking with pain. I wasn't taking pleasure with speaking. I didn't know how to do it. I was making so many mistakes. It was tiring. I was exhausted. I didn't want to speak. So I wasn't looking for any friends. I didn't speak to any girls. I was just by myself alone. So it was 2013, and this state continued up until 2014. It was November when I got in touch with Michael Williams. So it was 3 years ago. I was looking online for solution for stuttering, how to stop stuttering, of course. And one of the most popular websites was his, RunITD. So I said, well, this guy is convincing. He seems to be speaking fluently. He speaks in another way than me. I see he doesn't have any problems, so if he claims himself to be a stutterer at one point at his life, and now he has figured it out, then maybe I can give this program a try. So I enrolled in it. I paid a few $100s for self-study. I didn't do the coaching at all. I wanted to have some information to work with. I wasn't convinced about the coaching because I saw that he laid every information in his self-study, so why should I take coaching just to have his feedback? I knew that there wasn't much to the approach.
Good for you.
He just presented everything, so if I can pay a few $100s for self-study versus $4,000 for his coaching, I didn't even mention it to my parents. I said just, let's go with the self-study, it's cheap, maybe it will help, maybe not. I went through the program, I learned modeling, I learned all those techniques of extending inflections, connecting words, and I tried to do it. I worked with Michael Williams. I tried his approach from 2014 when I bought his product up until 2017, this year practically.
But unfortunately, Mr. Williams, just like any stuttering trainer, represents the old stuttering cure approach. He himself believes that millions of stutterers around the world, and he himself, have some kind of neurological stuttering illness, which can be only masked, camouflaged, tricked with all kinds of artificial tricks, techniques, tips. And this is what he teaches to his confused clients. He himself is still unaware that most People who stutter are healthy, and they are capable of beginning to speak in their own natural, comfortable, inborn speaking style, not in months and in years of useless speech training. No. They can begin speaking naturally right after they have become familiar with the manual user's instruction guide and begin using the most intelligent machine called body-mind in the natural way, according to these instructions, created not by us humans, created by Mother Nature, or how some people say, created by God. So yes, thousands of stuttering trainers, including Michael Williams, just like them, he is still offering to his confused clients endless training for months, years, training of something artificial. For example, he is offering to his clients to do modeling. They are required to model his speech, which is not comfortable, not natural for the most of his clients who have their own speaking style. They're born with it. We all are born with our body structure. Our body chemistry, body composure is totally different. You cannot find even two people speaking exactly in the same style. But Michael Williams offers to model his speech. Unfortunately, it is not just not comfortable and not natural. It is full of his mistakes. So guess what happens when you model a speech from any stuttering individual? Yes, you can only learn the way he makes mistakes, his mistakes. So to put it simply, you substitute your form of stuttering with his form of stuttering. But while doing this, you cannot physically experience physiologically normal speech that is comfortable for you, that is natural for you.
In 2017, this year, it was maybe February or January, I gave Michael Williams another shot. I tried to model. It still didn't work.
You are not Michael Williams. It's hard to copy, model Michael Williams because you have your own style.
What I also didn't like was that his speaking style was not compatible with my thinking.
What is thinking?
Yes, it's speaking in words, in your mind. What I didn't like was that I was speaking like him and I couldn't make it compatible with my thinking. My speaking in my head was not compatible with speaking aloud. Yes, so that was the most disturbing, dissatisfying part for me, that I couldn't express myself because the speaking style didn't match speaking in my head. And now I'm speaking the way I want. I am just verbalizing my thoughts, but I am using it my way. So it's not like I'm doing it slower or faster, I'm just doing it. What I didn't like about Michael Williams' approach was that it totally destroyed my spontaneous speech. I was making all those techniques, practicing them under pressure in presentation setting. My presentations went well because I was prepared for this. I was using techniques, but when I was improvising, when I was in conversations, I just lost my spontaneous speech and people saw that I was fake. I was talking to them and they just saw this persona. I was pretending to be someone else, and even though I was speaking better, they didn't accept me. They saw that something is wrong, that this guy is trying so hard to be something he is not. So they weren't even listening to my words. They weren't concerned about my message. They saw a fake person and they didn't want to have anything in common with me. So it was not a pleasant experience doing this program. Even though I gained some fluency in presentations, I just couldn't transfer it to conversations. And I had days when I was speaking better, I had days when I was speaking worse, and I didn't know why it's not working every day. I was doing his techniques, sometimes it was working, sometimes not. I didn't know what was wrong.
Because you were doing techniques. Techniques.
Now I know, yes, but then I didn't know.
This is the only problem. By doing techniques, you stutter. This is the problem. Once again, I'm going to repeat. I like Michael Williams. He's a very smooth talker. Very nice, very fuzzy. I want to hug him when I look at him. Like a teddy bear. You know, very nice guy. But nice guy is not a profession, is it? He was still giving you techniques. His mind is confused. Every technique to speak is a technique to stutter.
Apart from doing self-study, Michael Williams also provides boot camps for $90. So it's much cheaper than coaching. It's only $90. So I paid for this. We met in Skype or some other program, and there were 10 people in the classroom.
Group again group.
Yes, there was Michael Williams and his assistant, and what Michael Williams did was to divide us into rooms. There were 3 rooms, and every room had 3 people. So 10 people, 3 rooms, 3 or 4 people in every room. And Michael Williams with his assistant switched between the rooms, and they were giving us feedback as to how we model, how we are using techniques.
Oh my God.
It was his work. So I took the bootcamp, but it was cheap. So I don't.
Yeah, it was cheap, but what did you say? How many people were in the room? 10?
10.
10 people, $90. Do your math. Do your math. Okay? It's cheap, of course.
When you have so many people, you don't have to.
It's pretty good, right?
It prices. It multiplies.
Right. Okay, Michael Williams, God bless his heart. He confused you even more. So what happened next?
It was my last attempt at therapy's method. It was last one, so I don't have another story because it's my last story. I was in 2 therapies. The first one, 3 years. The second one, Michael Williams.
Okay, so let's talk about that alone. When did you find it and how much time did it take for you to realize this is it?
It took too long. It took too long because